How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis and we've got a new update from the Old School RuneScape team. This is Deadman changes and quality of life. Now these are stemming from the most recent developer blog and polls. First of all, the Deadman changes. To make Deadman mode a much more pleasant experience, they've made some changes to the skull, PGA, logout and teleport timers. Let's start off with the skull timer because that's the one most people need to be familiar with. When you skull, you'll now get a 15-minute skull timer. From there, if you reskull, you'll end up with 2 minutes being added to your remaining time. So if you've got 11 minutes and you attack an unskull player, your timer will increase to 13 minutes. However, it won't go over 15. That being said, if you choose to attack someone over 30 levels lower than you, your timer will be set to 30 whole minutes. Really removing as much incentive as possible to kill lower levels, but still making it, fairly good to encourage rampages around players your level. Moving on to the PGA Timer, which they've tweaked in the hopes that it will give players, presumably solo players, more opportunities to escape from teams, as well as combat boxing. The timer actually is remaining the same, however, for it to take effect, you must be under attack. Previously, it was either you under attack or doing the attacking, but now if you're the one doing the attacking, that means you won't be protected from it. Although they do say to reduce the likelihood of low level accounts being used to PGA, they've made it so it will take longer for a player who is a lower level than you to be able to jump in on a fight. Although I'm a little bit disgruntled at the fact that the Old School RuneScape team haven't specified how long that time is. But just be aware that that is actually happening in Deadman mode. And they've also got the teleport and logout timers, which are now 7 seconds. This means you'll get a short period of time to escape with teleportation or logging out from a fight in Deadman mode. Which, to me, looks fine. It's short enough to actually get out of the fight if you can distract your opponent for long enough. However, it's not quick enough that you can just hop out in the middle of the fight. Before we move on, there is one last thing to say about Deadman mode, and that is end of the Deadman mode season. Now this season's only been a month long, however it's been quite interesting, and there's only 1 week left. So soon the third Deadman mode invitational will be beginning, and that should be hopefully very interesting. Like I mentioned when Deadman mode invitationals have come about, I've really enjoyed watching the live streams that the Old School RuneScape team have done, and I love the fact that the Twitch content that live streamers create is based around Deadman mode is wonderful. You can just see how this game mode is becoming this huge thing. And personally, I think that's great, and it's amazing publicity for Old School RuneScape. Moving to the improved QOL Fishing. You can now fill multiple empty vessels without having to keep clicking. When your vessel becomes empty, it will automatically refill as long as you have raw QOL, which means that fishing for QOL will now be completely uninterrupted. Which is a nice quality of life update. However, I believe I actually voted against that when it was polled, mostly for the fact that I was a little bit worried about QOL prices, although in reality I don't think it's going to affect it too much. Next, the new Runecrafting display case. Displaying lore, death, soul and blood runes. If you've got level 90 crafting and 41 construction, you can now create the highest tier Runecrafting display case. Something that I think looks pretty good, and seeing as before the highest level Runecrafting display case was about, I think, level 45? Maybe level 50, I can't fully remember. Then I think this is a small quality of life update that people that enjoy runecrafting and construction will love. Personally, I am one of those players. I don't quite have 90 runecrafting. I'm in like level 80 something right now. But as soon as I do get level 90 and I actually start arranging my house, which I have yet to get around to doing, then I will be making one of these. In other news this week, we've got the smaller updates and the bug fixes. Free alching with the Explorer's Ring can now be done regardless of which spellbook you're on, via a right click on the ring. Miscellanea and Exeteria citizens now have a right click check approval to check your kingdom's approval rating. Empty birds' nests are now tradable and can be crushed in note form by Wesley. They've added a /fun option to other players when wielding the hunting knife from the Halloween 2016 event, which I think is quite nice. It reminds me of the whack from the carrot in RuneScape 3 they did for a very old Easter event, and obviously things like the rubber chicken that they did for Easter event. They've reduced the length of the ballista attack animation, which should hopefully fix some issues people had with the ballista. Magic tree stumps now match magic tree logs, which is nice and logical, although I do weep for the older classic model of magic tree stump. And they've added a separate Iron Man stock to the QOL shop. Deadman mode Nigel has had his dialogue changed to be up to date with the current Deadman rules. The stats of the Halloween hunting knife have been changed to bring it in line with the other fun weapons. The player-owned house toy box has been updated to include the new Halloween event reward costume and knife. Planting flowers at the underground pass grill puzzle will no longer allow you to avoid damage. The crystal mine key now works when it's on your keyring. They fixed a typo on the examine info for Abigail in the Halloween event, and Aram's staff has been added to the skill guide. Finally, introducing Mod Merchant. And this is something I kind of got myself a bit confused about, because I saw that this post was made by Mod Merchant, and I checked who Mod Merchant was. I could see on his Twitter that he was obviously a JMod working on the Old School RuneScape team. However, I was thinking, when did they introduce him? When did they introduce him? But I hadn't scrolled down to see that they had introduced him in this exact news post. So, welcome Mod Merchant to the Old School RuneScape team. He's going to be the new community manager. If you're interested in what he looks like, make sure you follow at JagXMerchant on Twitter, and or you check out the latest Old School RuneScape Q&As. I'm sure he's going to be featuring on quite a few of them, especially because they do them weekly, every Thursday at 5 PM British time. If you want to discuss any of the changes in this update, please do so on the forums or in my comments below. I'd love to know what you think about the new Runecrafting display case. Will you be getting one, or is the 90 Runecrafting requirement just a little bit too much for you? Click here to watch my video on the Old School RuneScape Halloween 2016 event. And if you want to watch my video on the latest Old School RuneScape poll, please click here for Hardcore Iron Man mode. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the Old School RuneScape updates, devlogs and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.